Last week I was cleaning out some piano notes and I came across this George Winston solo piano concert tuning writer. This is how his piano is to be delivered, set up, and prepped. It's real interesting. Stick around. Hi, Ted Barcelou with Alamo Piano Galleries. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'd like to build the viewership, and also if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and list them here because we like to interact with you and get ideas for future upcoming videos. A lot of them come from the viewership. And also go to alamopianogalleries.com and shop our website. This piano is on there. This is a Roland LX-9. There's the LX-6, the LX-5, plus all the Kawais and other things that we have, the entire store. You can also get insight into pricing and delivery information. What I wanted to talk about today is a couple of coincidentals. Last week I was getting ready to do some work and I came across this old paperwork, and it's a tuning writer for a George Winston solo piano concert. And I was kind of amazed because I haven't seen this thing since I started shooting videos here at the store, so it's been a long time. And also I haven't seen this thing since probably I've never even attempted to tune a piano like someone else's piano that has a different kind of temperament and sound. So I thought this is interesting, and the digital pianos, it's a lot easier and less time consuming to retune a digital piano than it is to retune an acoustic piano. So with this, I thought, there's some really interesting concepts here that I think a lot of people may not be familiar with. And I'm going to go over, just touch base on a couple of things, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the tuning chart and then play you a couple of things. First off, here's how it works. The piano's delivered a day before the show, and it has to be tuned by a certain time so he can go play and rehearse it the night. On the day of the show, which is the next morning, he wants another tuning done before a certain time. And then he also asks for a touch-up tuning right before they open up the house, which means he's playing on that piano all day long. So that touch-up tuning is when he gets his last chance to get that piano perfected for his concert. And it's real important because right around in here they mentioned that the piano does not have a microphone. And so if you've ever been to any solo piano concert, it's usually kind of freaky to sit inside a gigantic room with all these people and there's not a single sound except the sound coming from the person on stage playing the instrument. It's kind of a unique feeling. They rely a lot on silence. That shows up in this tuning writer, and I'll show you how. It's kind of funny. And then the other thing is you're there right before they open the house, tune the piano, and then when he goes to intermission, you go back and mess with the piano again. And the piano is to be set up a certain way, and it's always dead center of the stage, so on and so forth. But the other thing, too, that I wanted to mention is they talk a lot about this. And you can look at the print. This is in the big print. This is what it says. Things that seem to be adjusted the most are the pedals and bench. Please see those sections first, just below. And I have a theory on that. That is the pedals and the bench. No matter who manufactures the piano, no matter how much money it's worth, big or little or small, this concept of the bench and the pedals comes down to the delivery crew. You can have the best piano in the world, but if you take a delivery crew that doesn't know how to set up a lyre properly, it's going to need to be done by someone who knows how to set a piano for a silent situation in a large room with a lot of people. The last thing you want to hear are squeaks, groans, all kind of noises coming out of the trap work, or the lyre itself is loose. So it says here, best to take about 5 seconds or more and slowly release it. And check that there's padding underneath the pedals, and that the bench doesn't squeak or make noise. But the biggest thing is when you just put your foot on the pedal, sometimes it's loose enough, it makes a noise. In a silent situation, that little click, or that and he only used the right pedal and the left pedal. He never used the sostenuto pedal in the middle in a concert setting. So there's other things in here about how to set it up and how to tune. He talks about power, and that power means that it's a purely acoustic solo without an amplifier or a microphone. He talks a little bit about soft tone notes, and I'm going to get into that vaguely. A lot of that I couldn't really duplicate. I'm sure I can, but I didn't take the time to do it because it involves a detail. I don't know if the digital pianos can accept that. This tuning I put on the piano here, I also put onto a competitor, a Kawai piano as well. So I have that tuning residing in there as well. He talks a little bit about rapid repeat notes. George does a lot of staccato stuff that goes on for sometimes minutes or sections of a piano at a time. He used to. So that brings me to the tuning chart. What's interesting about the tuning chart is it says right here, before you get into the tuning, it says that George likes wide octaves. In other words, he wants the temperament to be wide and spacious. And then I'm thinking, okay, and then you look here and he's got these keys. He gives you the key number, he gives you the key note, he tells you which octave it's in, and then how many cents, that's the other side of the tone, he wants it offset. But that in parentheses, that's only if possible. And then there's some notes need to be good rapid repeats, some notes need to be soft on the left side of the hammer, and some notes need to have, I like this description, bass notes particularly requiring strength. Requiring strength means he wants those notes to stand out like they've been lacquered or they're super loud so he can hit them and have it ring for a long time. Next, this is the really cool part, is when he talks about stretching that tuning, these are the numbers. And I have a photograph of this graphically, and it looks a little different from other tunings that I've seen, and we're going to try to get that up on the feed. I don't know if we're going to go into the detail and give you all these numbers. It's kind of fine print. But basically, where the piano is flat, and by flat, I mean there's no pumping of the sense or taking away of the sense on the other side of the note. And the notes that run flat are basically right here. Is this A, above middle C, to D. That's where the center of the curve is. And the other thing is this low note down here is 20 cents below pitch, and the top note is 30 cents above pitch, which means that the top end goes up and the bottom end goes down. It's kind of funny because if you took that curve and you folded it in half, it's almost like, and twisted it, it's like the top and the bottom almost match. But let's go ahead and have a listen to some of the things here and see if you can tell how this sounds different from a standard tuning on a digital piano. Remember, this is a digital piano. So let's have a listen to a couple of things. And I think we have it hooked up where I can set this here and just turn around and play. I'm going to show you first how the octaves open up. Now, I have to be real careful not to intrude on anyone else's copyright or song, but I can try to give you an idea for how some things sound. Even mistakes sound good. That'll give you an idea for how the openness of the tuning works. I don't want to go into too many examples of playing. I'll try to play real simple examples so you can really listen to how the tuning works in and of itself with all of, in this case, it's virtual strings inside the modeling. And so you get the same kind of swirling effects as you do if you listen to the recordings in the album. And next upcoming video, which will follow this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the acoustic problems of an acoustic piano and setting up for this concert writer that I actually located from around 10 some odd years ago for George Winston's solo concert. I've met George a number of times. We talked a lot about pianos. We exchanged CDs, and we also exchanged chops on piano as well as jokes, and a really great time. He was a wonderful individual. I always look forward to his concerts, seeing him, visiting him, and we often provided his piano and his tuner. It was not me, it was someone else, which is where this came from the last time he was through. And with that, I am Ted Barcelou with Alamo Piano Galleries. I thank you for this insight into a George Winston setup instructions for a solo piano concert and also the tuning writer. I'm going to follow up with this exact same thing on the next video on a very, very small acoustic piano, and you can still tell it sounds like his instrument. It's really kind of neat how the temperament works. With that, we'll look for you next time. We thank you for subscribing to the channel, encourage others to do it, and we'll look for you in the future. Thank you so much.